Hey, good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. Am I audible? Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Good day. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I can see some of our mentees already joining. Please, you can. Okay, for mentees that are here, please you can go back to the group and tell your friends or tell your co-mentees that class has already started and that they should join as soon as possible. All right, this is the week three. This is week three for of the fourth quarter for Fintech, our Fintech session, and we'll be starting right about now. Our topic for today is Fintech business models, profit models, Fintech sector spread. You people are all welcome to our sections for today. Before that, before we get into the class proper, rather, I would like to just take the following announcements so that we can know what we are doing today. All right, our first announcement is that registration is still ongoing, or rather, sorry, registration for the first quarter of 2024 is still ongoing, or has started rather, and you can register for our courses. We have intellectual property, artificial intelligence and technology, the energy industry, fintech industry, health tech and law, patent drafting, blockchain, NFT and metaverse, data privacy and protection, and entertainment, business and law. So if you have colleagues, friends, course mates who are interested in our program or who want to register, right, they can start registering and preparing ahead of the first quarter for 2024. With that, we're going to our next announcement for today, and our next announcement is we'll be having a 30-minute one-on-one mentorship section. Private, you can decide to have, if you want, like a 30-minute one-on-one mentorship with your favorite JIIPCC mentor. So if you're interested in that, you can kindly reach out to any of us on the JIIPCC team. You know me, myself, Hussein, Amina, you can reach out to us and we will help you, guide you through the process. What you will be getting from the mentorship section is you'll be getting the private mentorship sections, that you'll be getting hacks, secrets, lessons, and direction from your favorite mentor. You'll be getting like secret hacks from your favorite mentor. So we'll be going straight into the introduction of our mentors for today. We have 4 mentors that are supposed to come help us with today's topic. Like I said, our topic is fintech business models, profit models, and the fintech sector spread. Our first mentor for today is Mr. Christian Ngombo. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. Okay. I would like to have I'm not supposed to be the moderator for today, so I will just be dropping up the platform so that we can have our moderator for today continue from here. Mr. Godslov, please, can you take over?
Okay, hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm really sorry, I had some issues with network coming on. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much to Mr. Danis for already starting off the class. I'm really, really grateful for that. Really sorry. The thing is, in Nigeria right now, our network problems are really a lot. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we'll go straight on into our intros for our mentors. I know that I have heard some of them speak before, and I would say it's the who is who and who is what when it comes to fintech that are here today to mentor. A huge welcome to our mentors. Okay, so can I have oh, thank you very much. So he's already started off with Mr. Christian Ngombo. Christian is an experienced management consultant at EY, that's Ernst & Young in London, as part of the fintech team, working with scale-ups and large firms across RegTech, payments, and crypto assets. He has prior experience as an open banking consultant for a fast growth SaaS fintech in London, working with EMIs and tier one banks, delivering their digital transformation projects. Christian has recently contributed to the UK's regulated liability network discovery phase, exploring multi-asset atomic settlement through a shared ledger for financial market participants. Christian has extreme experience in business intelligence within technology, working with cloud agnostic global firms to deliver growth strategies and operational models with collective deal sizes exceeding seven figures. Now, I read seven figures and I was blown away. I love seven figures. Christian holds a Master's of Science degree from University College London, UCL, with a special focus on economic policy and effects on key value chains. Welcome, Mr. Christian Ngombo. It's an honor to have you here with us today. Please, mentees, can we make some noise and appreciate our mentors as we introduce them, please? You can omit to do that. Thank you. Our mentees still here. Hello. Okay, yeah. So one thing I love during a session I moderate is let's make it very, 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 should I say, engaging, where we introduce a mentor. Come on, this is a class. We get to celebrate them. Up next, we have the beautiful Mariam Hassan. Mariam Hassan is currently leading payment strategy and partnerships, at Leather Bank Limited. She handles all strategic partnership engagements and oversees implementation of the payments platform. She has over 8 years experience in payments and collections, fintech business and partnerships, digital platforms and virtual channels, product development and strategy, and product management. Mariam began her career in banking and until recently was a lead fintech business and digital bank at Providus Bank, where she was responsible for building and managing the virtual channels and fintech business. A huge welcome to Mariam. It's an honor having you with us today for the class. Welcome. Mentees, come on, say a big welcome to Mariam. I'm not hearing voices yet.
Welcome to all our mentors.
Thank you. I love that. I really appreciate that. Okay, up next we have George Onyewuchi. George currently heads fintech engagements for First Bank and its subsidiaries across Africa at its Digital Innovation Lab, settling up and driving the bank's fintech strategy. George is a link that connects technology, business, and ecosystem partnerships. He's at the intersection of products, partnerships, and ecosystem building. He has led the tech solutions products development for the SME banking business of a leading commercial bank and has taken numerous financial and non-financial products from idea to market and growth. He has led digital transformation in the client engagement processes for leading commercial banks, including one of Nigeria's banking industry's first end-to-end account opening for corporate accounts and SME digital lending. His team has won numerous awards for powering growth of SMEs. He also provides advisory for CRIP Africa towards developing blockchain infrastructure and building the operating system for African businesses on the blockchain, and hosts knowledge sessions on blockchain application to various industries within the African context. Welcome so much, Mr. George. It's an honor having you around for today's session. Mentees, you know the drill. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, finally, and of course, not the least of them all, we have Damilola Akinayajo. I hope I got that correctly. So Damilola holds a BSc degree in microbiology from the Osun State University. Over the last 8 years, she has garnered experiences in customer experience management, product development, project management, and digital partnerships in the banking industry. She currently works with Providus Bank as a fintech partnership manager, where she enables partnerships with fintechs, MFBs, and SMEs for digital financial services and products. She's also an entrepreneur with two startups, an event management company, that's Zaprise Events, and a spice production company, Spice by Asabi. Thank you so much, Damilola, for being with us on this session and hoping to get some spices after the session. Okay, mentees, we are going to go straight up, but I think it would be wise for us to hear from our mentees on their presentations and then go to our mentors so you have a logical flow or chronological flow. Are our mentees ready for their presentation? Hello. Fintech. Hello, are we here, please? Can anyone hear me, please? Okay,
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Our mentees for the presentation, please. Who is handling for today's presentation, please? Who is the group presenter for today? Okay, so while we wait for that to happen, I think we can open the floor to our mentors to start with their openings. I'd love to open with Mr. Christian Ngombo, if he's on the call.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you. Welcome to the session, sir.
Thank you. Are you able to see me as well? Because I'm not sure. I can't actually
not yet, though.
Okay, strange. Let me just quickly try something.
Okay, yes, I can see you now. Yes.
Okay, awesome, perfect. Just a quick one. Did you want me to kick off with like my insights in terms of the fintech business models, or maybe like a brief introduction?
Exactly, a brief introduction. So by the time they come up with their presentation, we'll just have a flow from there.
Okay, cool, brilliant.
Thank you.
Cool. So my name's Christian. Feel free to actually call me Chris. So I currently work at Ernst & Young, so EY, based in the London office as part of the fintech team. And primarily what we do is we work with various kind of fintechs, traditional international banks from a domestic perspective as well, in kind of like three main segments, right? So number one, what we do is we kind of sell to some of these fintechs, being able to actually understand some of their key value propositions and making sure that we are able to kind of align it with some of the value propositions that EY is able to actually put out on a more kind of broader perspective. And number two, what we do is we kind of work from a transform with perspective, which primarily means kind of like if we have let's say a true layer, for instance, or a PSP or a fintech that is looking to kind of upscale in some of their digital transformation strategies or some kind of implementation procedures, what we do is we go into these fintechs, we work alongside some of their delivery teams to be able to kind of take them from an as-is state to a to-be state, which is some of the stuff that we currently do. And it's also some of the stuff that I've been doing for the last couple of weeks or so on a couple of projects. And lastly, what we also do is we have like an advise-on pillar where we primarily kind of work with governmental agencies to kind of understand the fintech ecosystem, bridging the gap and kind of, fueling that element of information deficiency between kind of traditional fintechs, neobanks, open banking providers, and TSPs as well, kind of allowing governmental agencies to really understand what fintech is about and ways in which they can begin to kind of, contribute to the wider narrative around kind of fintech and payments more broadly speaking. So that's a bit about myself. And prior to joining EY, I was working as an open banking consultant. So primarily working with kind of, EMIs, domestic and international banks on their open banking implementation and procedures, but also looking at it from a regulatory perspective. I was also, quite keen and quite central to the development in open banking from a European perspective, but also looking at areas such as Saudi Arabia, but also Brazil, as they begin to kind of scale up some of their open banking procedures. And just lastly, kind of looking at ways in which we can begin to ultimately achieve interoperability across different segments and across different multi-assets, especially when we begin to kind of delve into the blockchain and DLT space more broadly speaking. That's a bit about myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That's really insightful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that I'm enjoying the London accent. It's giving. Thank you. Amazing.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So please, where are you originally from?
I'm from, so I was born in Congo.
Okay.
Kinshasa, DRC. I moved over to London when I was 4 years old. And when I moved over, I wasn't actually able to speak English. I was just, a French speaker. I was literally that little boy at the back of the class, learning to actually speak English. But I managed to kind of, work my way through, completed a master's in international public policy and economics at UCL. Spent a couple of years working for a global intelligence organization, which is almost like a Bloomberg competitor. And then kind of like transition into more kind of fintech, SaaS provision. And now I'm a consultant for kind of traditional fintechs, but also kind of like neobanks and traditional incumbent banks as well.
So hard work actually pays.
Yeah, you like to think so, yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, up next, we would love to hear from the beautiful Mariam Hassan. Please with our intro statement so we can go on. Thank you so much, Mariam, for on the call.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Okay. How are you doing, Kristen? Nice to have you here again.
Hey, yeah, good to see you again.
Okay. So where do I start my introduction from? My name is Mariam Hassan, and I currently work with Leatherback UK. So I work out of the UK office. And what do I do at Leatherback? I handle payment strategy and partnership. So I will just talk a little about that. So Leatherback offers two products today. One is the multi-currency account that allows businesses and individuals to sort of make cross-border payments, right? So we're trying to connect frontier markets to developed markets, right? So it means that if you're a business or an individual and you need to pay maybe your suppliers or your friends or pay for your fees, abroad, regardless of where you're from, you're able to generate accounts on our platform, do an exchange and pay out locally to those countries. So what I basically do in terms of that is to manage the payment strategy around that and how that would work for our businesses and customers. So I have to engage partners from the different countries or jurisdictions where we have presence. So partners from Nigeria, from UK, from South Africa, from Canada, from the US, from Egypt, from Angola, from Ghana. So I sort of Ethiopia, I have to connect with, different providers or banking partners who we can leverage on to be able to provide these services. So I have to speak with them on different levels because payments kind of is similar, but it's sort of different in different countries. And you also have to look at it from the regulatory perspective and how payments are allowed in those countries. Some countries allow you to inflow funds, but they don't allow you to send out funds from those countries. So you just need to understand what the payment system is like in those countries to be able to work with the banking partners in those countries and ensure that you're also regulated so you don't get your business shut down. So we also have to, onboard, work with banking partners and see how we can provide these services on our platform. So I sort of manage the partnership conversation from start to finish and ensure that in terms of regulation, we're covered and how the payment system will sort of work on our own platform before I hand it over to the product team, to build. We'll also have another end of the business, which is API for businesses. So because we're able to leverage banking partners and providers in these different countries, we try as much as possible to connect directly to the source. Although sometimes our short-term strategy is to look for, a provider that allows us get our foot in the door first to be able to work. But the long term is to ensure that we are connected directly to the source because that helps us to reduce failure points and also be better priced in the markets, because when you leverage on too many people, your margin becomes really low. So because we're able to leverage directly with these partners, we're not able to provide that API as a business to customers, or to businesses rather who want to connect with us, maybe small startup businesses or businesses who do not want to go through the stress of working with it, going through the partnership process, because it's a lot. Sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months to be able to connect with these partners. So some that just want to plug and play and go to market easily, I've sort of built an API business within Leatherback where businesses can connect to be able to collect payments and pay out as well. So we leverage partners such as MasterCard, Stripe, and NIBS in Nigeria. We're connected directly to them. So we just leverage a couple of partners to be able to provide these services to businesses who want to connect. So that's just a brief overview, of what I sort of do at Leatherback. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I can boldly say this particular session is made up of handsome and beautiful mentors. It's impressive. It's impressive. Thank you. You really are so beautiful, Mariam. You look amazing. So it's an honor having you with us. Thank you. Okay, so up next, we want to hear from Mr. George. I think I've heard him speak before.
Hi.
Hello, welcome, sir. Ooh, it seems you're in space today.
Yeah. I'm good. You can hear me, right?
Yes, but I think louder will be better.
Oh, okay. Is it better now? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Better?
that's better now. Thank you.
Okay. I will not spend a lot of time because I think the time is fast spent, but not the activities of the day. Intros have already been, profiles have already been, so just say, still same George. Said, I lead in around the strategy for bank across Africa, and in any guys that we can reach out. So rather just say time of what we do, so that we can get around the opportunity to expect.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. While we hear from our last mentor for today, please, the presenter for today, once our last mentor is done, you'll be taking over with your presentation. And in the event where you're not ready, the backup presenter, please get ready to take over with the presentation. So we'd love to hear from our final mentor for today. Please go hear from Damilola. Hello, Damilola.
Okay. I think I'm up now.
Hello, good evening.
Hi,
good afternoon.
can you hear me?
Welcome.
Good
Yes, I can hear
afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me today. So I think I will speak briefly on the fintech models. I think that's what we're expected to talk about. So currently I work in Bankly, and what I basically do in Bankly is to provide API products for fintechs and SMEs. This product allows them to connect to some providers that they do not ordinarily have capacity to do. So today you have a fintech who's trying to do a P2P payment product, and they don't have either the license category or they don't even have the funding to connect to a NIPS, for example. So if you connect to a provider like Bankly today, you're able to generate virtual accounts for your users and also carry out transfer service and also pay for bills, and some other things that you might want to do. So that's basically what I do today in Bankly. And of course, we have quite a number of stakeholders in the industry today that we power, especially for the transfer service. So I think until when the presenter for this group speak, well, I just wanted to just do like a high level touch with the topic for today, which is the fintech models. So today, I mean, the top model that we find in the market today is the P2P payment. This is like, the odd burner. Everyone wants to develop a product that allows, one person to pay the other, or one person, send money to the other person within their ecosystem or outside it, and of course, a number of them build products around this. The next one that I think would be a very sought after would be the lending product. There are a number of lenders today. Thankfully, the government has been able to, delineate between both and, help us identify those that are licensed to lend and those that are those who have approval in principle, which means, their process to get the final approval has started. I mean, the process to get them approval started, but they don't have the final approval yet. And of course, there are some who don't even have the approval at all. While there's another category of people who's had the license before, but it was revoked due to maybe how they've handled their collections or customer management generally. Another one that I think is a top burner is digital investment. The number of digital investment fintechs today that you find in Nigeria, I think we have Trove, we have Bamboo, we have I think Chaka, quite a number of them. So you find them call themselves wealth creation, investment, or they typically do the same thing. I think another one that we are still trying to figure out how to do best in Nigeria today is the neobanking, right? All the Web 3.0, the crypto, and all of that. Today in Nigeria, central bank doesn't allow banks or any other regulated bank or EBB or whatever to deal with merchants or users who are cryptocurrency merchants. It's not a legal tender yet. So you find a lot of people still doing such transactions, just very quietly and codedly. So, I mean, even though you hear that that sector contributes a lot to the total, online transactions that happen in Nigeria today, but it's not formally reported because it's not a legal tender. So I think that's pretty much it high level on the topic for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ooh, so we have today's work cut out for us. So I want to go straight on into, once more, thank you to all our mentors for an amazing introduction. I'm hearing already of fintech models. I really want to learn more about that and see how to monetize some models. Okay, so mentees, are you ready for your presentation, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours. Please carry on. That's Semi.
Yeah. Good morning to our mentors. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shemilore Bushaki, and I'm presenting on behalf of Group 4 for week 3. And the topic is fintech business models, profit models, and fintech growth spread. What are these fintech business models? Now, a fintech business model is a strategy for the management of a financial technology business, which involves an operating tactic, revenue, as well as a deliberate customer base. That is, these fintech business models are techniques employed to ensure that financial technology businesses are effectively controlled. And it involves an operating strategy, it involves streams of revenue, and a targeted audience. A standard fintech business model consists of elements that operate in order to produce value and customer satisfaction. So the major goal of these business models is to satisfy the customers and provide financial services for them. Now, Wilder postulated that there are 9 elements of a standard business model. Now, these include value proposition, key activities, key resources, customer relationships, customer segments, channels, key partnerships, revenue streams, and cost structure. Now, I want to relate this to a fintech business model. In this context, a value proposition would refer to a concise statement of the benefits that a fintech company has to offer to its customers. Furthermore, the key activities include the actual production, design, and delivery of these fintech services. Key resources are basically the main inputs and assets that the business uses to function properly. Then the customer relationship. These are the relationship between the fintech customer company and its specific customer segments. Now, the next one is where we talk about customer segments. Customer segments represent the different categories of customers that fintechs aim to provide services for. Now, number 6, channels. Channels are these platforms that connect the fintechs to their customers. Key partnerships are strategic relationships between fintech companies. Revenue streams are the resources used by fintech companies to implement their plans and earn profits. Then finally, the cost structure. These are the costs that are required by the fintech companies through the course of their operations. Now, we have different types of fintech business models. Well, in this presentation, I will only be discussing 5. Number 1, the payment business model. Number 2, the lending business model. Number 3, digital business model. Number 4, investment management model. And number 5, small ticket loan models. Now, a payment business model deals with facilitating financial transactions between customers, businesses, and organizations. So it is an infrastructure in which the payment process provides that customers can transfer data or funds. Now, includes services like payments gateways. These payments gateways act as an intermediary between merchants and customers. These merchants are now business banks accounts that allow for business owners to accept online credit and debit card transactions. Mobile payments. They facilitate mobile payments through mobile devices, leveraging on technologies like near-field communication, NFC, or QR codes. Now, examples of these mobile payments include day-to-day transfers, credit cards, and use of debit cards, and so on. Digital wallets, they allow users to store funds and make online payments. Now, these digital wallets allow payments on your device so that you won't necessarily have to carry around a debit card or a credit card to make your transaction. Electronic fund transfer. These are transfers that are based on electronic devices. So they facilitate electronic movement of funds between accounts, what we do on a daily basis. Now, notable examples of this payment business model. Now, some fintech companies such as Paystack, PayPal, Amazon Payments, and Paytm are examples of these payment business models. Now, Paystack is one of the top payment gateways in Africa, and it solves many payment problems for different businesses. PayPal is now a globally recognized online payment system used for online transactions and transfers. Amazon Payments, I think we're all familiar with Amazon, and they use this for their online transactions. Paytm is an Indian fintech company that offers mobile payments and e-commerce services. Now, moving on to lending business model. Now, this involves fintech companies providing platforms or applications that facilitate borrowing and lending activity. So from the name lending, it involves connecting individuals and businesses for selling of loans to potential lenders. Now, common approaches to this model include the peer-to-peer network, loaning, matching platforms, credit scoring systems. Now, these peer-to-peer are transactions that are used for the transfer of funds between two parties. Loaning matching platforms are used for lending and offering both secure and unsecured loans. Credit score systems are used to assess and help lenders decide whether to extend or deny a credit. Digital banking model. This focuses on reducing reliance on physical branches of banks by providing banking services through online platforms. So it involves high levels of automation and web-based services to deliver banking products and transactions. Now, the operations of this model include mobile banking apps. We all have mobile banking apps on our phone, the likes of Access, Access Bank app, UBA Bank app, GTB Bank app, and so on. Online account management. This is the management and supervision of our online accounts. Then automated payments. Now, notable examples of this digital bank model include our banking cards, mobile wallets. I discussed digital wallets before. Then USD codes. This is USD stands for Unstructured Supplementary Service Data. And these are payments that allow users without a smartphone or internet connection engage in mobile banking. So this is USSD code. It basically helps financial inclusion for the unreached areas. Then we have UPI. This stands for Unified Payment Services Interface. It's a system that powers multiple, it basically combines multiple bank accounts into a single mobile application. So it is a combination of several banking features. Then the investment management method. Now, investment management method refers to innovative technology such as AI, blockchain, cryptocurrency, machine learning. It is use of these innovative technologies to improve investment management services. Now, these investment management services include automated investments, monitoring of existing investments, and portfolio strategies. So it basically facilitates for the provision of platforms for individuals to manage and invest their money effectively. Notable examples of these investment management models include Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a platform for investors seeking automated investments, self-directed trading, cash management, and so on. Then Robinhood. Robinhood is also an investment platform which offers commission-free trading of stocks. So it removes the commission in cryptocurrencies and so on. Finally, I will be discussing small ticket models. This is a model aimed at providing access to small loans, usually at the point of sale. So this model focuses on providing quick and convenient access to small loans. It streamlines the loan application, it makes it easier, and it will be better for especially startup companies. The functions include one-click loan approval. This allows a user to request and secure loans seamlessly with minimal information, minimal steps. Basically makes the work easier for people to secure a loan. There's zero interest payments. This enables users to repay the loan installments at zero interest rates, which is they would lend the money and be able to pay it back without any interest rate. So it's more convenient for people. Notable examples of these small ticket loan models include Affirm. And Affirm is a fintech company which offers point of sale loans for purchase at various online retailers. Klarna, it's a Swedish fintech company that provides buy now and pay later services online. So it basically allows for users to buy now and pay later. And it also has in-store purchases. So that will be my presentation on fintech business models. I hope you all were able to hear me and were able to gain something from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Shemilore, right? I got that correctly now.
Yes, sir. Shemilore.
Thank you. I love how calm and collected you were throughout this presentation. It was beautiful. Do we have a fifth mentor here today? That was nicely done, nicely done. Thank you so much for a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
I'm sure that your team did a good job with that, particularly when your slides are also beautiful and very educational. But I'll leave it to the masters to speak on that. So over to our mentors to give us their feedback on the presentation, as well as give us more insights on fintech models and sector spread for today. So please, over to our mentors. Any mentor willing to start off first is welcome. So let's wrap this up. Can we hear from Mariam first, please?
Okay. Hi, and well done to Semilore, right? She's the one that did the presentation. I think that was nicely done. I had a slide I was going to present, and it looks like she probably covered some of what I had in my slide, but I can still go ahead to share and just speak a little bit more, to just speak more to what she has talked about. So just let me know if you can see my slide. Okay, for some reason, I think I need to update my laptop, so it's not coming up. So I'm just going to talk through it. So good job on the presentation, and I think you did a really good job by picking up Star Wilder's business model, because that's like one of the most popular business models that businesses use today, because it sort of covers or speaks to every part of whatever business you're looking to start up, whether you're a fintech or not. It sort of helps to cover everything. So Alexander Osterwalder's business model is widely used. So great job on at least identifying that. So what is a fintech business model? Just, going forward from what you've spoken about. A business model basically allows companies to create, deliver, and capture value. So how do you create value for the market? How do you deliver this value, and how do you capture this value? Fintech business models are generally designed almost the same, but the definition of value varies, and that's why you have fintech business models. So I can be starting up any type of business today and still use the same business model, right? But it's how creating and delivering and capturing value that differentiates a fintech business model from every other business model. A business model enables a company to describe what value they are giving and all. And we would say that fintech today has definitely transformed the banking industry for better. So I would say that maybe they're getting something right with how, they've developed their business model. Now, why Osterwalder's business model is widely used is because it captures every aspect of whatever business that you're looking to do. So for the fintechs, for example, you have to have a particular customer segment. So similarly, itemized the different elements of the business model. And one of the very important, every part is important, right? But before you're able to fill up your business model canvas, right, you have to first be able to identify who your target market is, right? That's very important, because it's that target market that you use to build off every other thing that is centered around them. So you have to be able to identify who your customer segment is. Now, if we're taking the digital payments, for example, which is the payment gateway, who is the core customer segment of a pay stack, for example, we would say is who? The merchants, because those are people that they're trying to create value for. Now, when you've been able to identify who your customer segment is, you're now able to look at what are the value propositions that I'm looking to offer to these merchants, right? And that is like your unique selling point. That's what differentiates you from every other payment provider in the industry. So you have to be able to look at what your value propositions are and how you're looking to deliver this value. How do you deliver this value? That's where you look at your channels, right? How do you, and what is the typical channel for a pay stack to deliver value? Is their online the payment gateway itself. That's the channel that they use to deliver the value to the merchants. Then you also have to look at, customer relations. How do I intend to reach out to this customer or to relate to them for them to be able to enjoy the value that I'm bringing, right? Then you look at the activities. What are the activities around how I want to be able to deliver this value? What are the key resources that I need? The key resources can range from, say, your software engineers, which can be full stack, ranging from that. So what is the major resources you need to be able to deliver value to this customer segment that you've identified? They also have to be able to look at key partners. So I talked about handling partnerships at Leatherback. So we have to be able to identify who the key partners are for me to be able to deliver value. So my key partners are, say, MasterCard, for example, because I'm leveraging their payment gateway to be able to offer payment gateway services to merchants. Then you now drill down to look at your cost structure. I'm just talking through the different elements of the business model for a fintech, for example. I look at my cost structure. What is the cost for me to be able to deliver this value to these customers? And I itemize that. Then what are my revenue streams? That's where the profit model comes in. What are the revenue streams? How am I looking to make or be profitable in this business? Now, after looking at that, this business model is sort of, I would say, is divided into two parts. You have the cost element side and you have the value side. Now, for you to be able to avoid business model risk, because there are a lot of business model risk involved. For you to be able to identify that or avoid it, you have to look at your cost side and ensure that your cost is not more than the value side of your business model. So when itemizing your costs, you have to ensure that, sorry for that. So when you're identifying, your revenue models, you have to be sure that you're profitable enough to be able to cover your cost and make money as a business. Even though a few times, on this session, we mentioned that some fintechs are probably looking to, they're looking more at growth than to be profitable. So some of them, some of their profit models are not maybe revenue driven, for example, but more of acquisition of customers. It's more data driven. They focus on growth rather than profitability. But regardless of that, you have to at least be able to get to a point where you're covering your cost and making some sort of income, or you might just not, survive it. Now, one very key element that fintech should look at when developing their fintech business model is to ensure that they validate the products that they are building. Because you can assume that the products they are looking to move to market, right? People would use it. And, it will shock you that you get to market and people do not use this product. So you have to be able to develop your hypothesis, right? Hypothesis of what you think you're potentially providing to these customers and do customer validity. So you have to check for proper validity of the market, check for product market fit, product fit and product market fit before you go ahead to start this business. Hence, some businesses fold up because their business model, they did not identify these risks that are involved. So you have to check for visibility risks, to check for desirability risks, check for viability risks, and check for overall adaptability of your fintech business model. Now, when we come to the profit models, right? Also looking at what Semilore has identified as profit models, we'll look at fintech profit models can range from subscription fee to commission to, I think, licensing sometimes, because some people do, some offer licenses where you're able to leverage on them to provide your services. Some also make money from advertisements, right, where people can leverage their platforms to advertise and use it. But the most popular ones are sort of subscription or commission. So a Paystack who offers a payment gateway today, merchants have to pay some, charges to be able to use that gateway. So that's how some of these fintechs, make money. Now, when looking at sector spread, I'm just going to touch through everything so that I can allow the other mentors to speak. Like I earlier said, the emergence of fintech sort of revolutionized the financial industry and is also lowered costs of financial transactions. And that's why, also banks are also looking to how they can be competitive to match, what these fintechs offer. Most profit models are not revenue driven, like I said, but the fintech industry is rapidly, I won't say it's expanding, rapidly, especially in Nigeria, and one of the most popular sectors. Semilore has also identified the different fintech business model sectors, from digital payments to P2P to capital markets and investment to wealth management, digital banking, crowdfunding, and the likes. But I know that one of the most popular one, I know Damilola mentioned P2P lending, another popular one that, majority of the startups get funding for in Nigeria is payments, right? And this sector has attracted well over 500 million USD, and has a huge impact in the economy. Although we know that this dollar problems that's coming up is sort of affecting a lot of fintechs in Nigeria. But I'll say that Nigeria has, one of the highest number of fintechs in Africa, right? So I think that's about it in terms of speaking to what Isha has done and my own contribution to what fintech business model is. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so can we hear from Damilola, please? Thank you very much, Mariam, for that amazing insights. Really, really nicely done. Thank you so much. Beauty and Brains. Okay, to another Beauty and Brains.
Hi, Dami and George. Sorry, I was going to say.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Miriam. Same here.
Okay,
yeah, I mean, I think I'll just elaborate on what Miriam had said. I think and another thing that you find many people who are not even in the industry today talk about is they will say a lot of people are going into P2P payments today. I mean, like typically doing the same thing, but there's always I don't want to say loophole actually, but there's always a part of the value that is missing from business to business. So a good way to start as a smart business person is to look for that thing that is missing, then leverage on that, and of course add one or two things for your own business distinction. Then just go to the market with it. For many reasons in Nigeria today, you find that many of the fintechs that we have, they are centered in Lagos, Abuja, and I think a very tiny bit of it you find in Ibadan. But you find people in the interlands today who are by every definition, they say we should not call them below the pyramid. I mean, people who live below the dollar. I think that's a better way to describe it. And they don't have access to any of these products. Many of them still don't even believe that their monies should go into a financial system. They rather keep their monies, with them in cash, in their homes, under the ground and all of that. So I think there should be an advocation for for fintechs moving into other parts of Nigeria, because Lagos is not only the place where the business is. There are a lot of monies up country in the north today. There are a lot of monies, from e-commerce, from commerce and industry, in the east as well. So it's a great one for I think it was a great one for Semilore, right, to have highlighted all of these features. And of course, I think I particularly love that presentation on how she just went for the business models, identify the fintech business models that we have currently today in Nigeria. There are a number of other sectors in Nigeria today that can be automated, that have the potential to be automated. And one that is buzzing today is the agricultural sector. You find that there are a lot of value propositions across the the ecosystem, either pre-production, processing, and different things in the agricultural ecosystem. So that could be another model that maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we can find something around it and begin to push out also as a business model. So I think that will be all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like how I'm hearing business models, profit models. It's really nice. I'm feeling smart. Our mentors are doing a great job. Thank you. Okay, a name I think I'd love to call Mr. Christian Ngombo. Over to you, sir.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, similar to Mariam, Damilola and George, nice to meet you guys. So yeah, I'll quickly get into, I'll do like a whistle-stop tour in terms of like the fintech business models. I've done like a slightly quick kind of spin to it in terms of the actual approach. So what I wanted to kind of start things off with is it Shemi Lori? So in terms of your presentation, I just wanted to quickly touch upon that. First and foremost, it was really good, namely because I think you were able to really identify some of the key kind of salient areas within fintech, and kind of like touching upon the key business models to actually kind of be from like an as is state and take it to a to be state, which is really salient in the business model and kind of like in the ecosystem more broadly speaking. What you're able to really do is really call out some of the particular use cases, which was really good. So some of the companies and the organizations that are doing some fantastic work within this space, you were able to really call out, which was some of the stuff that I know Mariam touched upon as well, which is really good. A couple of things that would have been good to maybe see, especially when we are discussing kind of fintech and kind of like the developments within the ecosystem more broadly speaking, is potentially kind of like the embedded finance space. And based on the fact that it's actually based on open banking rails, that would have been potentially good to see. I know you touched upon like wallets, but what we're currently seeing, especially with MasterCard, they've actually launched their kind of multi-token network, which is essentially like a shared ledger, which allows application developers and banks to be able to settle on the blockchain, which then kind of ties into wallets as well. So it would have been quite good to maybe see some kind of maybe like deep dive in terms of what's currently happening within like the wider ecosystem in terms of, you know, salient players that are actually playing within this space. But overall, really good, well delivered, and it's very consistent with what we're currently seeing in terms of trends within the fintech space, more broadly speaking. I'll quickly run through a slide that I put together. Just let me know when you can see my screen. Cool. Are you guys able to see that?
Yes, please. Fintech business models.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently a consultant at EY. So obviously we work with kind of like crypto asset organizations, working within blockchain, but also back to what Damilola mentioned, the payments sector is, you know, growing quite exponentially. So it's really good to see that you guys have actually touched upon those particular areas as well. And from a business at EY, that's what we're currently seeing as well. There's a couple of like, you know, key areas that are growing quite fast, particularly around payments, you know, namely the likes of open banking, embedded finance, kind of, you know, banking as a service as well. But kind of, you know, delving more deeper in terms of, you know, business models within fintech, it's quite important to, you know, really call out some of the important factors that need to be taken into consideration. I know Mariam, you know, touched upon this in a bit more detail, so I'll probably do it, you know, very high level and kind of deep dive in terms of the actual use cases, more specifically speaking. So I'll touch upon kind of, you know, the open banking space. So when we do talk about open banking is primarily the situation whereby banks open up their APIs and data to be able to share with various TPPs. Now, obviously, those TPPs come in the form of account information service providers and payment initiation service providers, right? So obviously, payments is, you know, a growing area within fintech, more broadly speaking. But there are, you know, naturally a couple of key challenges and opportunities that we've been able to actually identify within this space. And, you know, if you are, let's say, a founder and, you know, looking to actually build out a fintech proposition, these are some of the challenges, especially around open banking, that you would have to ultimately consider to be able to move things along. So as opposed to kind of, you know, touching upon all of these key challenges, I'll probably call out customer security. So some of the key security risks, potentially, you know, are kind of delving into the customers being able to actually share their data with the TPPs, with these fintechs, right? Now, this is a main concern of open banking, but it's also like a great opportunity because it, you know, fragments the ecosystem and the market, because, you know, traditional banks aren't necessarily in a position where they can, you know, become a monopoly. So they have to kind of open up some of their data and APIs to various TPPs, which then results in customers having a lot more choice, which then, you know, opens up the market in terms of, you know, consumer and market kind of competition, but also allows the customers to be able to have, you know, additional value added services and a range of different products that they can actually use at their disposal, namely the likes of kind of, you know, VRP solutions, payment initiation, personal finance management propositions, which are all kind of, within the categories of open banking, but naturally kind of have opportunities and challenges around customer security. Now, within open banking, when we start to kind of look at some of the key opportunities, it's important to kind of, understand where open banking started and where it could potentially go, right? Now, where it can potentially go is, starting things off within kind of like open finance, extending the potential of open banking. So not just, open banking and, payment service providers and, AISPs and PISPs, but more kind of extending that to across the financial ecosystem. So I know areas such as, wealth management, mortgages, credit risk decisioning, et cetera, which then kind of extends into open data, where you're able to kind of leverage data in, other kind of interoperable industries to be able to leverage that to allow a bank or a PSP to be able to make decisions based on the data that's actually readily available to them. I've called out a couple of key notable players within this space within Africa. So the likes of, Cooperative Bank, OnePipe, Mono, and True ID, who are doing some fantastic work within this space, especially within the SSA region. I'll quickly touch upon kind of embedded finance. A brief overview about embedded finance is that it kind of facilitates the opportunities for banks, as well as, e-commerce organizations that are able to kind of, tap into the customer experience, but allows the customer to be able to not change the way in which they bank and ultimately shop, but ultimately get to a kind of a 2B state where you're able to kind of fuse the two interaction points ultimately for the customer, right? And that's ultimately done through kind of APIs, right? And it leverages the open banking rails, which then kind of, presents the opportunities for embedded payments and embedded finance. Now, I've called out a couple of, key use cases, namely the likes of M-Pesa and the interaction and partnership between ShopRite and Standard Bank, which, kind of draws out the, number one, the opportunities within embedded finance as a business model, more broadly speaking, but also it kind of, calls out the fact that, customers are in charge of where the industry is actually going towards, right? Obviously, if it is the case that, embedded finance is going to continue to grow, it's important to actually, back to what Mario mentioned, it's important to really understand what the customers are ultimately looking for. So then that way you can actually begin to tailor your value proposition towards that, right? I'll touch upon CBDCs. So CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. You might think that if it's a central bank, how does it tap into fintech? But CBDCs has a unique proposition where it opens up a potential for payment interface players to then begin to provide value-added services to various consumers, right? So namely kind of, technology solutions in terms of enhancing, core banking proposition and payment systems, but also allows customers to kind of reduce the frictions and costs associated with kind of, cross-border payments, but also adds a layer of security in terms of, a large proportion of customers not necessarily trusting various fintechs to share a large proportion of their data. So then what they can actually do as an alternative is actually trust the central banks, which would actually have these, security mechanisms in place to allow the customer to share their data directly with the central bank, which then allows them to be able to use some of these value-added services. And then I'll quickly touch upon buy now, pay later. I know, Shemilore, you touched upon this really well as well, and you called out Klarna. There's a couple of other players, the likes of ClearPay, Laybuy, and Pay Later, who are doing some great work within this space. It is quite key to call out that, buy now, pay later is going through some, difficult times in terms of, organizations, in terms of their positioning within the marketplace, their ability to really, put in place a key, go-to-market strategy to reach out to, various consumers across different jurisdictions. A couple of players that I've actually called out within Africa, more specifically speaking, are the likes of Lipa Later, Payflex, and Credpal, who are doing some good work. And I suppose the reason why they were able to get to a position where they are kind of industry leading is simply because of, COVID-19, right? So a vast proportion of, consumers and customers weren't able to necessarily work as of when they wanted to do so. So this naturally gave rise to the ability to be able to kind of, shop and buy on the front end and kind of spread the payments across X amount of months, which provides flexibility, but also allows the merchants to be able to receive payments over a protracted period of time. So that's a whistle-stop tour in terms of fintech business models. Happy to answer any questions, and yeah, thank you very much, guys.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, grateful for that. That was also an amazing insight into fintech models. Really impressive. Okay, we'd love to also go to Mr. George. Is he still around from Spain?
Okay, yeah. My network in space is not very strong here. So.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks again for having us today. Let me see if my network is stronger now. So not break. Hope you're still hearing me.
Yes, I can hear and see you.
I'm a bit on the move. Okay. All right, cool. So for me, starting with the presentation, I think it was sorry, it was a very good presentation. I think the only part I would touch on that part of their presentation is just to say, I think in subsequent presentation, let's try to localize what we are doing so that we can actually relate to it more. For every example and every model that was mentioned in that presentation, there are Nigerian companies doing exactly any of those use cases or any of those examples of businesses that were used to explain those slides. And it would really help more, when we use local businesses, so that we can really relate, especially some of us are businesses that we see every other day or we hear of, but we don't really know or have insight to what they're all about. So those examples also bring them home. So maybe to just try to localize their examples or their use cases in a subsequent presentation. But overall, it was actually a very good job. Touching on the subjects area, fintech business models, and now, for me, I'm not really heavy into the various nomenclature of these models. For those that know me probably here too, I'm always focused on the fundamentals, those elements, because when you answer those fundamentals, or when you get the fundamentals right, you just naturally find yourself where you fit in any of those models as the various nomenclature goes for them. But a lot of times, we found that working with businesses, for years now, we found out that a lot of these guys, because of the facade, because of the hype, because of the whole desire to start a company, you just go download or search the various business models and say, okay, I want to build an app. I want to do digital banking, or I want to do buy now, pay later. That's my business model. And then you start to build a buy now, pay later solution, right? So, and then when push comes to shove, you either don't get moving, or and you find out after building the solution, okay, what next? And you're stuck. So I always like to focus on fundamentals when it comes to business model, to say, what are the key things that make up the business model? And if you answer some key questions around the business models, you will naturally know where you align or where your business model aligns to. First is always about what it is you want to produce or what it is you want to develop. But the way I like to put it is, what problem are you solving? A lot of times people will bring out apps, here and there. You find out that they don't think about the problem, they think about the solution. And there are two different things. Yeah, it looks the same in the front, but it's two different things. You might see 2, 3 solutions that look like you are classifying them under the same business model, but they're not solving exactly the same problem. Even though those solutions look similar, but the problems they are individually targeting behind the scene might be different. And that is actually their secret sauce. So if you don't understand, I just want to build a payment company, but what problem are you really solving? What problem do you think made Paystack build Paystack? What problem do you think, I see all the examples we gave, Klarna, Fem, what problem do you think they were trying to solve when they built those companies? Is it because they just wanted to build a buy now, pay later company? Why is one, for example, say, I'm not charging any fees, I'm charging 0% interest, to anybody that comes to use my service as a buy now, pay later company. And the other one says, I'm charging, you to use my service. You're going to pay interest, but you can pay it over 12 months. Are they actually trying to solve the same problem, right? You have a situation where an Affirm, for example, is more focused on trying to help the merchants, right? Because acquire more customers, right? So while you on the user side, you think that their primary focus is you because they're giving you a 0% interest rate when you use their service for buy now, pay later. But the primary focus for them is actually the merchant because that is where they make their money. Those are the guys that they charge 5% plus, on that thing that you're buying, right? So instead of charging you, they're charging the merchant that interest rate because for them, they're solving the problem of helping the merchant acquire more customers. So to attract more customers, they give the guy the ability for you to pay an installment at no charge. Then charge the merchant, for helping them bring you to them, right? So you need to understand what problem are you solving and not just be on a high level around what your model is or something. Yeah. So another thing is if you identify the problem that you want to solve, and of course that drives what you're developing and all. Who are you doing it for, right? For whom is this problem, right? That you're solving? Who has this problem? And that relates to who your target market is. I've had a lot of people talk about that target market, right? It's easier to identify that target market if you're very clear around the problem you want to solve. So it's easier to say, okay, who has this problem? And how serious is this problem for that target market? Is it a very urgent problem, right? Is it a very important or necessary problem, but it's not urgent, right? I used to do an example. I say, if your hair is on fire, right? If somebody comes to them and give you water from the gutter and say, hey, put this water on your body because you want to take your bath, you're going to ask the person if the person is insane, if the person is, okay mentally. But let's say for whatever reason, something happened where you are and there's fire all around you and your body caught fire or your hair caught fire, right? And somebody offers you water from the gutter. You probably pour that water on your head to quench that fire before you ask where that water came from, right? Or even if it's a bag of sand or a cup of sand, probably pour your head of that sand on your head before you worry that you're pouring dirt on your body because your hair is on fire, right? The problem is incredibly urgent and must be solved. It can be something regulatory, when you come back to this fintech thing. It can be a regulatory problem that I have to solve this thing, right? So you need to understand, again, who are you solving it for? And where does that problem sit for that target market, all right? How urgent or how necessary, is this problem? And that will determine how you sell or how that adoption would happen, right? And of course, it will also play in your price, which is going to be the next question you ask is, at what price, right? And what is the competitive price that I'm going to solve this problem, right? How do I make money, basically, while solving this problem? And answering the question around that competitive price is looking at what are the guys that are solving this problem doing, right? which is why sometimes, for example, Coca-Cola in one of the antitrust cases one time ago, will say they're not in the business of making beverages, right? The beverage business or the beverage market is not their target market. So you can't say that they have up to half of the market, because that is not their target market, right? They're in the business of refreshment, right? Including people that are selling water, because most likely an average human being has like something you can consume, liquid you can consume at a particular number of times. So the more water you take reduces the less likelihood of you drinking Coke when you're thirsty, right? But if you're thirsty and you see Coke, right, and you see water is also competing for your thirst, just the way the Coke is competing for your thirst. So their competition is not just other beverages makers like Pepsi and the rest. They're also competing with the table water guys, because when you're thirsty, you're either taking that Coke or you're taking water. So it just opens your mind at like who basically is that target person, and how much, what competitive pricing you want to do. And then lastly is, how do you want to get that product to them? How do you want to get that solution to them, right? Distribution, right? How I've made this solution, but how would they take it, right? Some guys, just like some of the companies that we've mentioned here, some of them come to us directly as customers. Some of them go to bigger organizations or bigger merchants, and those are their customers. But when we're using those merchant services, or when we're patronizing those guys, we're using their services indirectly, right? It might be, say, a Paystack, for example. A Paystack will not come to us, right? But we are using Paystack when we go to maybe one of our favorite merchants websites to shop. And when we want to check out, we use Paystack. Well, right, so understanding that target market also, if you understand distribution, how are you going to get your products to them? So typically, I mean, why there are a few other questions here and there, but around these 4 fundamental questions, if you answer them thoroughly, you will just naturally find yourself in, this is where I am in my business. This is the quote unquote business model, or the fintech model that I'm playing out, and this is how I am going to play. So typically, I always advise people that, look, beyond just looking at the high level type of model, also go deep down to focus on those elements, because those are really what would define whether or not you actually succeed. Not just the fact that you're doing a particular model. You need to go beyond the fact that you're doing this model to really answer the questions, because within that your model and within that your space, you will see the different nature of the different companies that are providing services or solutions within that space. And lastly, when it comes to distribution and I know some spread, yeah. Remember the topics talked about spread. I mean, lately or in more times, I can say that I think increasingly we are having other areas of the ecosystem evolving or opening up. I mean, it used to be heavily lending and then payments, came in heavily. It looks like it's always like, Nigeria, like, put out, let me borrow this word. They will say we can spoil something. Once it starts one particular trend, and then everybody jumps in, and then it gets a bit heated or saturated, and then we catch the next trend. So, I mean, lending had its right, saving apps and saving services have had their right, investments, had their right, payments, got their right. I think recently, crypto, blockchain got their right, all right, and I think increasingly now we're entering the AI right, and everybody's now also wanting to get out one product or another powered with some form of AI. So spread wise, I mean, the various models are increasingly getting evenly spread. Of course, naturally in our own economy or environment, we have those first 4 or 5 that are very heavy here: savings, payments, lending, and of course, typical digital banking. Much more take more chunk of that industry, and then the few other ones are just coming here and there. So, I mean, I'll just stop here for now. Probably dig more down the line if we have further questions. Thank you. Yeah, and hi to all a quick shout out to all the mentors that have also presented for now. Great one, guys, and nice to see you. Goslov, I hope I've been audible since.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir, you've been.
Yeah, okay. I
The network
think
is
got
really helping me at all.
Okay, he's back.
Sorry, please. I'm having issues with network. Mr. George, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Indeed, when the wisdom comes out of space, it's really, really amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so mentees, I believe something is said that we always say here in JIIPC, when it comes to giving your examples or cases, ensure to use things that we can relate with, especially Nigerian related cases or African related cases. It's an African-based program, so we can touch foreign cases for sure, but then let's bring things we can always relate with and make us always remember and understand the topic better. Okay, so thank you so much to all our mentors for the amazing insights so far. Now to the mentees, do we have questions? You must have questions. So please, can we bring forth our questions? Just signify with a raise of hand on the app. We will call you for your question. Professor Chiku, okay, I think I had a question. I'm checking through. Hello, Uche Thompson. Come on, where are those questions? I believe that this is one particular topic that you need to ask a whole lot of questions. I think it's almost at the core of fintech, because from what our mentors have said, is you need to know whether you want to do a profit model, a business model, and how to functionally make it work. Okay, so while we wait for the questions, can we do my favorite part of every JIIPC session? It's picture time, ladies and gentlemen. So while we're trying to think on our questions to make them come forth, kindly turn on your cameras, please, so that we can have a quick picture time. Ooh, nicely done. Okay, let's keep turning on these cameras. Hello, Peculiar. Hello, Femi. Hello, Ogochuku. Hello, Alimi. Hello, Mba. Uche. Okay, please let's keep our mentors waiting. It's an honor to have a picture time with them. So put on your best smile. Our faces are so amazing. Nice. Okay, Miss Dennis, have you gotten some pictures yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. So we're going to move over to the questions. I've seen your faces now. Femi, let's hear your question, please. Uche, you came late. What happened? Come on, mentees, where are those questions? I believe during your group discussions, there were some topics that you needed some more clarity on. Okay, okay. So in the absence of any questions, please, we'd love to go.
Sorry, I have a question, sir.
Oh, finally. Okay,
Hello.
go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, please. Go ahead with it.
Okay. My question is as it relates to the security of these financial models. Like, I learned of a crime called phishing with the PHISHING, where some hackers, they masquerade themselves as some online business platforms, and they send messages and emails and sometimes ads or advertisements on various apps. So it kind of keeps some people in the danger of risking and all that. So my question is, how do these fintech business models, the fintech companies basically, how do they cater for this kind of crime and this kind of risk and all? So that's the question, sir.
Okay, please, our mentor. Did you get that, please?
Yeah, I got that. I think I will just take that. Thankfully, I think we're still in the cybersecurity month, if I'm correct. I think it's a whole month. So
Correct.
the thing is, you cannot be 100% certain that you've covered all of the ends. But what you try to do is to align with best practices. So you find today that many transactions are authenticated by by two-factor authentication. So it's a PIN and token, or something to just authenticate that each transaction that passes through a platform is authenticated by the user or authorized by the user. You also find, on the high level, fintechs will say that they build firewalls, they built, they have frameworks in place to protect their users, and also provide some form of security on their own platforms. And of course, I mean, there are some kind of transactions that you do today as a fintech that you'll be required to have some kind of certification. So I know for fintechs who do card transactions, they're expected to have PCI DSS or something certification to protect their users, from because what they will be doing is literally saving details of customer and their card details. I mean, saving the details of their customers who use cards, debit cards or credit cards, either. So that at least form some form of, I've protected my house. But of course, you cannot be too perfect. We find today in the industry, Nigeria and abroad, large industries are hit by cyber attacks every now and then. But I mean, just be sure that you've done your own homework, you've aligned with best practices. There are a number of certifications at the highest level as well that you can also get, to ensure that your business is covered. Even on the regulatory side in Nigeria as well. I mean, one of the things that they would ask you to do at every time when you're onboarding a user is to get their full KYC details, have their BVN or NIN, have their full name, have their address, There are a number of solutions today that allows you to do digital digital address verification. There's a way they can geofence on the application, and they can pin the location of the user and just do a little bit of background check to who they are onboarding. The truth is, you cannot be completely covered. I mean, that's the word. I remembered recently I learned of a fraudulent transaction that happened with somebody who's close to me. She said she made a transfer to a furniture maker. She saw a sofa or something, like a sofa set on Instagram, and she liked it. It was about 830, was 800,000, but the delivery was 30,000 naira. And, you know, very good service, you know, everything end to end looked really well, you know, and the person promised to deliver, say, on a Friday. And, you know, Friday, they didn't get from her. Saturday, no word. Sunday until, I mean, Monday morning was, I mean, this is beginning to look very funny. And unfortunately, at that time, because the merchant was no longer reachable, the phone number that was used, I mean, the phone number on the Instagram page is no longer available. In fact, by the time they got back to Instagram, they saw that the person has changed their Instagram profile name. So some of these things might not be able to completely mitigate them, but I mean, as an organization or as a business owner, you have the liability to ensure that you've aligned with best practices, such that when issues like that are reported to consumer protection, you have some form of, you know, cover for your business. Thank you.
I don't
Thank
know
you
if
so much.
I don't know. Just add a line to what Dami shared, and very
Please go
solid
ahead, sir.
point there. But just wanted to just add that when it particularly comes to phishing, there's a lot that is on the user side than it is on, you know, the fintech or the organization side. Bulk of, you know, actually, you know, what the fintech or the company, you know, can do is more of user awareness and user education. Because when it comes to phishing, it's all about trying to trick you to thinking that you're dealing with the real organization, but you're providing your information to the fake guys. So it's more about user information, user awareness, for you to learn when not to respond to emails that look as if they're coming from your financial institutions or your apps, or not to respond to dubious text messages, you know, that you think they're coming from your app, but when you click it, it's taking you to a website or a page that has been cloned like that organization. And when you're logging in, you're thinking you are logging into the main guy, but you're logging in a cloned website, and then they harvest this information and now use that your information to go to the real website and go and log in as you know, to perform the transaction. Even when the organization has done a two-factor authentication, if part of the things they've gotten from you in the other side also has, you know, access to that your second factor, they will still validate that transaction just like you. So it is more around user education and user awareness, while the bank is doing everything, you know, while the fintech is doing everything to protect you. But for phishing particularly, the responsibility is heavier on the user to be very, very careful and listen to all the warnings or all the educative materials that their financial institutions share with them, or apps share with them, around warnings on dealing with unsolicited messages or emails asking them for different kind of information. Just thought to add.
Okay, so that means their data protection is solely on them to protect those information that can cause, that can be harmful to their information online.
Largely, not solely, but largely, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. A whole lot to our mentors. So mentees, do we have more questions coming up before we have the final words from our mentors today? We'll just give them a few minutes to see if anyone has anything. Okay, so while they are thinking on a question, please want to get final words from our mentors. This time, let's start with Damilola, please. What's your final word today on topic for today's discourse? Hello, Damilola.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, loud and clear now.
Okay. Yeah. What was the question again? Sorry, I think I reduced the volume. Mhm.
I want to get your final words on everything, the final statement on the topic for today.
I think my final word would be that Nigeria is a very populated country, and no doubt there's a lot of chaos, going around in the economy and all of that. But there's one thing that a mentor of mine too always say. She would say that there's money in chaos. There's money in chaos. There's money in the big numbers. So in a country like Nigeria that is highly populated, and there's a lot of downturns in the economy, there's always an opportunity somewhere. So the onus lies on every one of us to identify the opportunity and build a solution around it so that your product or your service becomes a sought after. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Mariam, please, your last statement, your last word on today's topic, please.
Okay, maybe more on the mentee side. I just wanted to say, well done to them. I think the slides were on point. They spoke a lot to what the fintech business model is, and given what George has also talked about. Yes, we know that we have the business model canvas, which every business look to start off their business or write their models, but there are very key elements that you need to look at. And I'm guessing that most of the mentees here are law professionals, right? So maybe you need to, when you go back, think about how you can marry law and fintech, right? And use the Osterwalder's business model and see what you can come up with. It's something you can just play around, right? And think about the fintech industries in Nigeria is expanding. So think about what problem do you think you can solve and play around with that, business model. Think about how you can marry law. Yes, we know we have legal tech, right, today, but think about how you can marry law and fintech, basically. Thank you. Thank you to the mentees, and well done on your presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, and finally, George, what's your last word, the last statement for today?
Thank you very much. And just taking it from where Mariam stopped, I'm a big advocate for you and you enterprises, like I always call it. How does this, puts Naira Kobo, to you? How does it apply to you? All these plenty slides and all, how can you relate it to translate to, your own bread and butter? So just like Miriam said, you need to really think about, where do I function in this whole ecosystem? I am a legal professional. For those, I know the class maybe might be heavily tweeted to legal professionals. What kind of service do I want to play in this fintech space? Among these models that I'm looking at, among these information that I'm gathering, where do I want to build competence around? So what problems do I want to solve and be known for, so that I become a trusted authority in that space? We all know that, for example, the JIIPC, one of the Imam, one of the JIIPC founder, have increasingly taken on to IP, right? Intellectual property law, and even within the fintech space, she's dealing with intellectual property issues, and we can see how she's getting awards everywhere, being recognized for those competencies. So you need to ask yourself, what problem do I want to solve in all the various types of fintechs available, all the various fintech models and canvas? What problem do I want to solve in that space? And then from there, begin to develop yourself and your career and your competencies to align, to that problem, and so that people can reach out to you as the solution and pay you very well for it. And wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. To our amazing mentors, thank you for your words of advice. Thank you for your teaching today. It's been really, really worth it. I'm not a fintech person, but after today's session, I think I want to come to a program on fintech. It's really, really interesting. I want to learn more about these models. Mentees, you've heard our mentors give you amazing advice. So one thing about JIIPC, it's not enough to get the knowledge. Put knowledge to the test. That's why we always scream about LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn and show that you are writing things out. Not enough to just write things out. Ensure that reach out to these mentors sometimes. Reach out to them. Reach out to banks that handle things like this. You want to get more hands-on knowledge, not just a theory, because they will give you amazing theoretical parts to it. But take your own path to see how practical you can work on it. Most of our mentors today are gurus in the fintech and are doing things practically on it. You can reach out to them. That's why you must explore the 30 minutes one-on-one with your favorite mentor, because it will give you an amazing opportunity to learn more in a practical space, a practical environment. And we really hope that after your quarter with JIIPC, you will be a tech guru, not just theoretically, but also with a hands-on knowledge. And like Mr. George has said, you would make some money from it. You can have this knowledge and not make money. The world is all about making money from every knowledge you've got. We hope to see you all at the next session. Thank you one more time to our mentors for an amazing session today. To our mentees, thank you for staying with us from the beginning to the end. Well, again, I want to advise all mentees, by the next session, please come with your brain-racking questions. Let's put our mentors to the test, and we know they are very, very much able to handle it. Thank you very much. Thank you also to JIIPC. Thank you to Mr. Dennis for being with us throughout the session. My name is Goslav Kamaluni. It was an honor moderating this session. Until the next time, bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye, everyone.